one for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you, either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak to change what a partake. Cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
My message to any dad, man, first off, know that, yeah, it is a hard job, but it's the greatest job in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't change anything about it. Everything you're doing from here on out, if it didn't have purpose before, now it has purpose. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. Just be a dad.
I'm not here to play. I'm here to win. All this is done with hardworking people that believe in the vision of Black Lion and Cubs. And I will be the first one to say to all of you right now, I know Black Lion and Cubs isn't the best. What I'm doing is important. You should not be a part of Team BLC because you think it's the best. My hope is that you're looking at what I'm doing and saying, you know what he's doing is important because it's leading a charge, it's setting an example, it's showing a way for other people to do the same. I recognize that we're in a space that's Japanese-led. It's created by another group of people, and I respect that all day. But there's a space for us at the table. And if they won't allow us at the table, I'm gonna just build my own table. You understand? And that's why Black Lion and Cubs is important.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Dad Is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for men of color and fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And today, what I care about is in this world of this anti-DIA going on right now in this country. And I'm going to be frank with you. When people talk about DEA, in a certain way, I feel like it's a new terminology for the N-word. I'm gonna leave it like that. And my special guest is changing the narrative when it comes to seeing just Black people in anime, because I think that's important when it comes to affirmation and seeing us in different media, because often in media we get that negative narrative, and this dope brother is changing that narrative. He was a former Kidergardten, and he decided to say, you know what, fuck this. I want to create something where it's about showing that we can be in all types of perspective. And he's doing his thing. He's a father of 2. He is the creator of Lions, the Black Lions and Cubs, the one and only Hotep. Thank you for coming on, brother.
What's going on, Ishmael, man? Peace, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. And before we start, because I'm all about mental health, and I ask all my guests that comes on the show, how's your heart?
Man, heart is, earlier today I thought about it, and I said, my heart is heavy. And I know when people say your heart is heavy, they think of it in the context of negativity. But I really mean my heart is heavy. It's full with just love, man. Like it's full of love. It's vibrant. It's pumping strong. And so I say my heart is full of love, man. And that's how I feel right now. So I'm really in a great space. I couldn't be in a much better space, my brother.
And I appreciate you sharing that to me because that's important. And just talk about, your story as an educator and that transition from education to telling stories, our stories, and then becoming, getting into this anime world.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is, I've had the fortunate experience of being an educator in public schools, my whole career, 15 years in teaching, was in elementary. I taught 10 years of fifth grade, fourth and fifth grade, and 5 years of kindergarten. I really enjoyed kindergarten more than I anticipated. You know, my principal at the time was attempting to shake me up, get me out my comfort zone. And he certainly did that, because I was not interested in teaching kindergarten at all at first. But once I was in that position, it really helped. It changed me, man. It helped me become a better man, because it was then when I first realized how much of our presence, our physical presence, makes a difference. Our example, how much children, they hear you, but they see you more, and they model what they see around them. And I got a chance to see that, and it forced me, because I care about the outcomes for my children. It forced me to become a better man. I had to be a better example for them. I did that in the classroom for a few years. Fast forward to now, I'm a father. I get to do it on a whole nother level. But the great interesting thing about what you mentioned in regards to storytelling is all great educators know that storytelling has to be a part of your wheelhouse, has to be a part of your toolkit, your arsenal, if you will. Every great educator is a great storyteller, and every great storyteller is an educator. They're very much aligned with each other. So I've been telling stories for a long time. I've always been a big fan of cinema, and so as a father, one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that as I started helping develop my own children and help mold them and guide them in the way that I see fit, that I help them see themselves as the heroes of their own story. And all too often, that's something that a lot of people don't really have the great advantage of, at least early. And for some people, that's the reason why imposter syndrome is an issue, because they're not used to being a hero in their own story. They're used to being, you know, a sidekick, or even the villain or the downtrodden person in the story that they tell themselves. And so it's a big thing in psychology, the understanding of the story that we tell ourselves, that's set in the subconscious mind, and how that plays out in our conscious lives, whether we recognize it or not. And because I'm aware of that, very conscious of that intentionally, I decided to create an anime story that was centered around a father and his two children, and how the father decides how the father helps the two children navigate the world and tap into their own innate powers. The theme of Black Lion and Cubs is true power comes from within. And that's another idea and reminder to all of us that the power that we want, the answers that we seek, the solutions that we're looking for, start here. You know, and even those that, you know, want to say, well, it starts with God. Yeah, okay, say it starts with God. God is here, you see? And so the thing that I wanted to make sure that my children understood at an early age, as they continue to develop and grow into, you know, young people and adults, is that it all starts with them, and they are very vastly powerful beings. And as long as they remember that, it'll help them build their confidence and self-esteem to navigate the world in such a way so that when they have to, when they come up to it, to face things like people trying to get rid of DEI, they say, you know what, they speak like daddy and say, you know what, I ain't worried about DEI because I'm down with DIY. DIY is do it yourself. I can do it myself. I don't need your handouts or whatever. You understand? So, you know, that's the attitude that that's the culture that I come from and know very well. And it's that type of attitude that I feel is very necessary, particularly for us as African Americans. We got to stop getting distracted by other people's agenda and positioning yourself where you're at the mercy of the decision making of other people. That's our problem. That's one of the big problems we have in this society. We're constantly positioning and repositioning ourselves in such a way that we are at the mercy of the decisions that other people make. And in this case, in particular, we're talking about people that historically have shown you time and time again that they don't care about you. They're not interested in you, right? So why would we even sit and cry about, wonder, concern ourselves with people who do not care and historically have not, and have shown even when they, you know, throw a little trinket or, you know, a little token to us, they say, you see, that's not genuine. And that's the reason why we're dealing with that now. So let's stop. You know, for me, this is my position on the part of me. my position is. You know, I don't really care about DEI. I come from the culture of DIY. DIY stands for do it yourself. Only powerful beings understand that they can do it themselves. Only empowered beings recognize that that power, the answers and the solutions that they're looking for, come from them. And when people do that consistently and then build with other people that understand and know the same, they can transform the world in the way that they see fit and not have to be concerned with what other people are doing.
And I think one of the most important things, I know we've had conversations in the past, is sometimes I feel like we lose ourselves in individualism and forget about the community. And so one of the things I thought was interesting is that if you go back to back in the days, like in New York, like in the 80s, you know, a lot of people were influenced by Japanese culture. You know what I'm saying? Like the matinee kung fu flicks that was distributed in New York and by Japanese. You know what I'm saying? Just
So
talk. Yeah, go ahead, brother. No, I was just talking about how that kind of influenced you, because I know we've had conversations in the past, but talk about how that kind of influenced you growing up.
So, the reason why I interrupted you, and pardon me for that. So, the kung fu movies is Chinese culture, not Japanese.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. You know, we got some of our Asian brothers and sisters, man. They watch this, and they're like, "Yo, y'all saying like the Ethiopians and Nigerians are the same people, man? Come on." Right. So, that's why I wanted to clarify that. But the truth, to your point, in the 80s. We were all introduced to Asian culture, right? Late 70s and 80s, primarily through Bruce Lee, right? So Bruce Lee was the big person in the 70s and early 80s that really broke through pop culture and, us as African Americans, in this country. Because Bruce Lee, I don't know, for whatever reason, Bruce Lee had swagger, he was fly. And he had an attitude as if he was taking on the man, if you will. And I think that was part of the appeal that we had, is that here's a person from another culture who's being, marginalized in some type of way, and he's taking on the machine. And I think that's what resonated with us to that extent, and went beyond Bruce Lee, obviously, to 42nd Street. I used to go there every weekend with my pops, and I got a chance. I just came from New York last month, and I said, "Yo, those kung fu theaters still there?" Like, we used to go from one street, one building to the next, to the next, to the next, and it was all kung fu movies. So, that's where I was first introduced to people like Jackie Chan and Gordon Liu. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are names people don't know. And when we weren't on 42nd Street watching the kung fu movies, you had the Kung Fu Drive-In Theater on Channel 5 in New York. So it was through the kung fu movies that a lot of us were introduced into Asian culture. But I have to give the biggest credit to the Wu-Tang Clan in the early 90s. In the 80s, if you were really into Asian culture, you were still a nerd. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't cool. Like, we did it because we liked it, but you weren't the cool one. If you really rocked with Asian culture, you were a nerd. And you can see this on the big screen in movies like The Karate Kid, right? The Karate Kid, you see that boy, he's a nerd, he's a clown. If you watch The Last Dragon, which is reflected of us in our culture, again, Timac was the nerd. You know what I'm saying? It was an interesting dynamic, because for those of us that were really into Asian culture, we were nerds. The bad guys in these movies, Shonuff and was it the Cobra Clan or whatever, they weren't into Asian culture. They were just into the martial arts. Yes. You see what I'm saying? And so that's a very distinct difference between someone that just likes a piece of the culture and someone else that was really into the culture itself. And so that was a very interesting distinction. Fast forward to the 90s, early, 93, 94, the Wu-Tang Clan single-handedly, or if you want to say 18 hands, are the driving force for making the interest into Asian culture cool. You understand? Because now you got Method Man rocking with it. You got Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killer, you know, into the culture of some of the Asian cultures. And so it was Wu-Tang Clan that took it to a whole nother level, and didn't just make it cool, or didn't just make it popular, but made it cool for us. And so I came up in the 80s. I was a part of that. Like, you know, when Wu-Tang came out, I was like, yo, like these are people I knew. You know what I'm saying? It felt like I knew these guys because they were saying things and referencing things that I grew up on myself. Like, I know those names and such. So fast forward to now, I'm a father. I had the great pleasure and opportunity to be able to share with my children things that I came up on. And when I decided to create Black Lion and Cubs, I decided to do so, one, in a way that was family friendly, but also that was retro style. So my reference point wasn't whatever anime is today, because I don't even know what anime is today. I'm not, you know, into anime culture like that. I'm a creative person that has decided that I want to share my vision and my ideas through the vehicle of anime because I like the art style. And so I decided to, you know, do so in a way that reflected the time period that I came up on. So all the music is like, reminds you of 80s hip hop music, golden age music, or some of the music that you would hear in Transformers or Voltron. The video games that I've produced, they all have retro style music, you know, remind you of the original NES. So it's Mega Man, Castlevania, Rygar, all those things. You know, even in my graphic novels, you know, if you look at them, it'll look like some of the artwork of some of the people that were popular then: Frank Miller, John Byrne, Arthur Adams, Todd McFarlane. You know what I'm saying? So it's retro style as well as family friendly, and of course reflects the faces that look like us. Because as much as anime is a Japanese culture, you know, we have a seat at that table. We're creatives as well. And anybody that wants to challenge me on the point that you have to be Japanese in order to create anime, I challenge them to say, you know what, that's just as ignorant as saying you got to be Black to create hip hop music. You see?
Facts.
I'm gonna stop there.
Facts. And I want to get into that rabbit hole when we talk about that, because you see this mutual exchange where you see a lot of Asians influenced by hip hop. So just talk about that from your perspective.
So you know, hip hop has influenced the world. It is a world culture, a worldwide phenomenon and culture. KRS-One said, I remember I was at one of his lectures at Clark Atlanta University here, and he said that you know, hip hop is number one. He said, you know, wear hip hop like your condom as you walk through the world, because it'll protect you. You understand? And that is it was spot on when he said it. Like, I understood. Like, man, that just made so much sense to me. But then number two, you know, he had talked about how hip hop is the one culture that unifies all people, accepting of all people. If you are true and genuine to who you are and express yourself in a way that's dope, people are going to accept you. They're going to embrace you. Now, will there be a faction of people, you know, a small percentage of people that are going to hate? Absolutely. That's just the nature of the game. But the culture itself will embrace you. And that's evidenced across the world. Now, I can't say I know many Asian artists. I'm not, you know, again, I'm not into. My father was in the Asian culture. My father put me down to Bruce Lee. My father took us to the Kung Fu movies. My father's the one that studied Aikido and introduced us to Taoism, Buddhism, you know, and some of the religion. So that was through him. But me, myself, am not you know, outside of that, you know, through my childhood, I'm not into current Japanese culture or Asian culture at all. You know, I'm more about, you know, African culture, you know, and American culture, and, you know, being a purveyor, a facilitator, and a curator of those things, because it's important not only for myself and my people, but particularly my two children now.
No, and I think that's important too, because I think that when you talk about hip hop in a nutshell, it's been the voice of people that's been oppressed. It's been an outlet for people that needed to say something, and through hip hop, through lyricism and different forms of hip hop, whether it's graffiti or dance. It was a way to be an outlet for people that needed to say something, that didn't have a platform to say what they needed to say. And I think that's the one thing, a beauty about the culture, like you said, is that it was an open tip for everybody. But the reality is, like, the fathers of hip hop really haven't seen the economic benefit from it, and that's the reality. Unfortunately, that's the sad part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But as we proceed on, just talk about the importance of, you know, in this world of anti-DIA. Again, like I said, it's become like the N word. Like, and I love what you're doing because you're changing the narrative. Say, you know, I'm a Black father. You know, I'm creating these amazing stories. You know, I got this animation going on, and
yeah, right here.
DIY, whatever, DIY, I'll do it yourself.
Yeah, so there's DEI and then DIY.
DIY, do it yourself. But also, I think the most important thing when you say DIY is that you don't forget that community plays a part of it, because you have this Kickstarter going on right now. But before we get into the Kickstarter, but just talk about that importance of, yeah, you do it yourself, but you need the community involved with, because I know you have a lot of people that's helping you with that project. So just talk about just that valuable part of just having community with you, with the projects that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it's something I saw. Roland Martin, you know, took a problem with the stance of DIY. He was like, how, you know what I'm saying, when you have all these isms and this, that, and the other. And I said, listen, and this is one of the problems in our community, is that when people hear DIY, they think it's an individualistic perspective. Absolutely not. Like, see, that's right there is part of the problem. Like, the assumption is, or the misnomer is, when a person says DIY, do it yourself, they're saying do it alone. No, that's ridiculous. DIY simply means you have the attitude that if no one is going to help you, if no one is going to sponsor you, if no one is going to give you the way, that you will commit to making a way. And the way you do that is, one, having the confidence and the commitment and esteem to move things forward, and then find other people that agree with that same perspective. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And so DIY is only from the idea that we cannot wait, we should not wait for people to do that for us, what we can do for ourselves. And so, but the idea is really more of a mindset shift than anything else. And as I said before, we can sit around and talk about the things, we can sit around and continue to position ourselves at the mercy of other people, and we will find ourselves still with the same problems. That's, again, if you look historically, especially at least in this country, our singular biggest problem is that we position ourselves at the mercy of the decision-making of other people. We say, oh, the police are the problem, so fix the police. All right, that's okay. So fix the police. Okay, so good luck with that. Right? Good luck with that. We say the white man's the problem. Fix white people and racism. Good luck with that. None of that stuff is going to change, because these people don't care about you. Now, they will do the smoke and mirror dance all day, but they're not going to change anything significant. DEI is just another version of what they call affirmative action. You see what I'm saying? So it's just smoke and mirrors. We got to get off the titty, man. Part of my language. Get off the titty. You understand? Black man. We talking to fathers now. Black man, get off the titty. You are powerful. You are great. You are capable. Are there isms? Absolutely. We don't succeed because the isms don't exist. We succeed in spite of them. You understand? We succeed in spite of them. So again, my point is, when I brought up the police, all right, yeah, we can go about trying to fix the police, but again, now we're the power and the responsibilities in someone else's hands. That's what we do. We're positioning it in someone else's hands. If you really want to make a change, build the FOI. For those that don't know what the FOI is, that's Fruit of Islam. Fruit of Islam, or build the guardian angels. You understand? Build your own security. DIY says, oh, we're going to build our own infrastructure of security to protect our own neighborhoods so we don't have to rely on other people to do it for us. That's the DIY attitude. So it's not alone. It's not by yourself. It's, you know what? We can't afford to rely on you to make the decision for us. We got this ourselves. We're capable. There's enough money in our community, as we already know. There's enough genius in our community. There's enough talent. There's enough education in our community to do this. All it requires is us shifting our mind and getting off the titty of the white man or the government or all these other entities that we're asking to do for us that which we have the power to and the responsibility to do for ourselves. That I'm gonna stop there. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I feel you on that. But what I worry about is that are people willing to play the long game? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and now in the world that we live in, everybody's all about we do this boycott, and hopefully within a couple of days we'll get results.
Son, I was just about to go ahead. Keep talking. Go ahead.
No. And I want to be realistic to people is that if you want things to be accomplished, you have to realize it's going to take years. Are you willing to sacrifice years for the gains, the positive gains for the future? And unfortunately, I just see that we're not capable of doing that because, again, we want things now. We're so accustomed of we protest, we march, we don't see any outcomes, we get frustrated, and we go back to our regular lives.
Well, then, my brother, then it's a wrap for us, man. You know, so you think about what you just said there, all right? Because if you believe that, then it's a wrap for us. And I'm gonna tell you, I have a very prominent attorney that I sat down with a couple months ago. Black man, I mean, darker than me. You understand? Like right. Fully entrenched in culture and history and all that. And you know, I was sharing with him, like, you know, my anime series is on a network called Black Education Station. And he said, you know, Hotep, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. All that black stuff, man, it's a wrap for black people in this country, man. He said it's a wrap. You can just hang it up, man. He said it flatly. And I said, you know what? I can't even argue with you. You understand? I can't even argue with you. Claude, there was a Dr. Claude Anderson. He, in the 80s, talked about how, you know, black people, he predicted that black people will be a permanent underclass in Americans. A permanent, he didn't say a permanent underclass in American society. He said this back in the 80s. And look at where we are now. So my point is, and then hear a brother like you say what you said, you know, listen, I can't argue with people that feel like he felt, right? Even what you said, I can't argue with you on it. But this is what I'm gonna tell you right now, and everybody else is listening. I'm an optimist, right? I'm an optimist. And so what that means is, and I'm an opportunist. I've trained my mind to see within every obstacle opportunity, within every obstacle. So there's some people that are wired in such a way that they see a problem for every solution. You can't even talk to people like that. Every time you give a solution, they're going to give a problem. That's just how their mindset is wired, right? I'm wired a different way. I'm wired that for every problem, I'm going to find a solution for. And because I'm optimistic, I'm going to work towards the betterment of that better outcome. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether I achieve it or not, it's not really the situation. I sleep good every night. You understand? And then when the creator comes for me, you know what I'm saying? However that looks and whatever that, situation is after my time is up, I know I'm going to be on the right side of things, not because I'm perfect and not because I'm a good person. I don't even really consider it that way, but because I put in the work. When the creator asked me, son, did you do your job? I ain't going to be no question about that. And so, and on top of all that I mentioned, that's just me. Now I got 2 sons. You understand? So I won't give up. You see what I'm saying? Even though, and I said this to a brother that I spoke to today. I said, listen, man, I'm jaded, I'm brokenhearted. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been doing this work for a long time on behalf of all of us. You see? And I've seen all that foolishness and the coonery and all that. You know what? And so I'm jaded. Like you see my face, I'm jaded heavily, and I'm heartbroken because I want for people more than they want for and will do for themselves. However, I will not give up this fight because it's a good fight. I enjoy the battle. I'm built for this. What you see back here, this anime brand that I've developed, and this, this Kickstarter that I'm doing, is just an example of, it's just an attempt to galvanize the people that see things this way, right? I know we're a minority. You see what I'm saying? I don't speak to the masses of people because they don't even understand what I'm saying. They would rather end racism. They fight for the end of racism. Me, racism ain't going nowhere. So that's a foolish battle for me. You understand? But some people would rather fight that fight. Some people would rather fight for the right to have, right for the right to sit at other people's table. I don't fight for the right to sit at other people's table. I build my own table. You understand? And then I bring people to my table. That's what Black Lion and Cubs is. That's like I'm not going to sit around and complain about what Asians or Japanese people aren't doing on behalf of us. It ain't Japanese people to represent Black people, and what they create for themselves, and like they should be. The question is what we doing. Again, that perspective isn't very popular because most people, again, I find would rather, get somebody to do it for them. So my point is, in my lifetime, it's always been a matter of a certain quality of person as opposed to quantity. And so my life is a testament to that. I've been in business over 20 years. I've been married over 20 years. Some of the people on my team been around me 20 plus years. Like, I'm an OG. We understand loyalty is royalty. I'm built for the long term. You talked about the long game. I'm built for that. You understand? Like, I'm a builder for the long term. That's a rarity. So this Kickstarter here is designed to galvanize people that see things in this kind of way so that we can DIY together, build our own table. And that table might be small, but it's mighty. It's mighty, my brother. So that's my speech right there.
Nah, man, and I appreciate you breaking out the speech because it's important, because you broke down the importance of realizing that it's a long game. It's a marathon. I mean, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. And that's the most important thing, is that in the time we live in, people don't see that. Is that when you whether you disagree with the civil rights movement was a long game. They understand the situation. It wasn't something that Dr. King popped up and had a dream and blah blah blah. This shit was like, if you think about it, like Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you had different episodes in that saga to lead you to that. And that's the same thing with the civil rights movement, is that you had different episodes, but at the same time, it fell back onto community. And unfortunately, what happened is that they told the story of the individual instead of the impact of the community. Like, the people that you don't know that played a huge impact in the movement, that if you look back and study it a little bit more, you're like, oh wow, really? And so that plays a major role in today's society, is that we have a disconnect between the individual and community. And like, when you were saying DIY, do it yourself, like you were alluded to, is that it's not about me. It's about the bigger picture. It's about showing more of us in that industry. That sometimes what happens is, we're looked at as buffoons or baby daddies or that. And you're like, nah, we're more than that. You know what I'm saying? And I love what you're doing, because that's important, and we need that. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
to
you,
combat this anti-DEI bullshit that's going on in the media right now, is that, we need this more than ever. Because if you see like the trend of the whitewashing of Black history in America, you are vital to that movement of showing that we are more than just one thing. We're so vast when it comes to media, storytelling, anything when it comes to just global wise. We influence the world.
Yeah, man, big brother, I appreciate you. And I tell people all the time, you know, don't back my project because you're looking for the best. I'm not here to say what I do is the best. It's not the best. What I do is important. And that's what people need to get, you know, through their head, is the understanding that, you know, some people are looking for the best song or the best this, the best that. It's not always about the best. It's really understanding that you back certain things because they're important. And you back things because you also believe that you're backing something or someone that's going to see it through. And that's another part of our challenge in our community. As you mentioned, people don't understand the long game because we're in a society now that is being blasted with snapshots. You see, when you scroll through a screen, you know, scroll through social media, all you see is a quick snapshot, a quick moment in time. And this is what we do. We see that quick moment and, oh, look, they're holding hands, relationship goals. But you don't know that right after that picture was taken, they're beating down each other. They're tearing down each other verbally and emotionally. You see what I'm saying? So we mistake the snapshot for the full picture. And that is the trend that we live in today. For example, yesterday we had this, you know, boycott or whatever. Okay, does anybody have the data? Like, what did we accomplish with that? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people think, and some of us think, you know, we value our money more than it's an overvaluation of our money, because some people saying like, yeah, we ain't lose too much. You know, we might have lost a little bit, but guess what? Number one, y'all coming back tomorrow. There's only one day. Y'all coming back tomorrow because you haven't built anything for yourself. So you gotta come back to us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, take a break for one day. There's still plenty Asians here and Mexicans here that shop with us. You understand what I'm saying? And then two, even if they didn't shop with us, black men and black women, black children, yeah, don't shop with us on one day. All right. Next day, y'all are back at us, you know, and y'all back double time because of what y'all lost on that day, because y'all don't have no infrastructure. You're still DEI. You ain't do it yourself. You haven't built any infrastructure. You haven't built your own. You're still trying to sit at our table. You haven't built your own table. And this is the cycle and the problem in our society. And the reason why in the 80s, somebody can predict that the black people in America will be a permanent underclass, because for whatever reason, in our mind, the white man's ice is colder. No one wants to talk about this, but it's true. Black people in this country, even today, even with Obama and everything else that we have a serious serious feeling of a serious inferiority complex. That's the root of all of this, that we suffer from an ingrained inferiority complex that started with the image of a white Jesus. You understand? I don't know if I can talk about this on your podcast or not. I'm going to break a lot of hearts and people are going to feel bad. I can only speak it like it is. You understand?
Go ahead for it, brother.
We are ingrained. Many of us are ingrained with a subconscious, deeply rooted inferiority complex that started with our vision of God. And then we will fight to say it doesn't matter what Jesus looks like. I'm going to tell you again, it matters absolutely and unequivocally what you envision when you see Jesus. Because in a lot of our minds, Jesus is the Son of God. In some of our minds, Jesus is God. If Jesus is the Son of God and he looks white hair, long hair, blue eyed, then at the end of the day, when you look at a person that's blonde hair and blue eyed and look like that, you are looking at them as if they are somehow closer to God, somehow godly and more closer to the creator than you. And you are the opposite of that. And that's where it starts for a lot of us. And we will fight to say, yeah, you know, the white Jesus is okay, but we don't really understand the psychological damage that is done to us. And so it started there. And so a lot of what you're seeing today, even the civil rights movement, man, God bless, you know, what a lot of people were attempting to do comes from the idea that, you know what, we want what they have. We want to drink from their fountain. But if we were thinking differently, we said, you know what? We know how to build. I'm going to build my own fountain. Fuck your fountain. You understand? Oh, you got a school? You got teachers? We got teachers too. And you see, again, so we had that mentality. We lost that. We lost sight of it and abandoned our own for the plight of trying to get on, be at somebody, for the right to be at somebody else's table. And here we are right now. And, you know, that's a conversation a lot of people have and a perspective that oftentimes isn't shared about the civil rights movement. You understand? Again, I will say it again, my brother, because it's so important that people hear. Yes, racism is wrong. Yes, we have a right to be at certain tables. But the question we should really ask ourselves is, why would you want to eat at the table next to someone that doesn't even care about you? Why would you want to sit next to someone that would rather see you starve? Why not commit to building your own table and then sitting next to people that love you, that want you to dine, that'll share their food with you willingly? And then as you do that, it starts to grow, it starts to expand. And the impact of what these other people are doing is now marginalized because, yes, they got their game plan, but so do you. And the impact of what the effect of what they can do to you is so much reduced because you've built your own. It's just like today. If we had our own Targets, had our own stores, and so on and so forth, we could stop shopping there, show them that our money matters, and then day two, go to ours. But we don't have an alternative. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, Black Education Station gives us a piece of that. That's a whole nother conversation. But I hope Black Education Station did very well yesterday.
And just to add to what you were saying, I think one of the things that comes to my mind when we have this conversation is when Harry Belafonte told the story of the one-on-one conversation he had with Dr. King. And Harry Belafonte told a newspaper, I think it was the Amsterdam News, and he said, yeah, you know, I had a conversation with Dr. King, and he saw Dr. King, and he was down. And Harry Belafonte said, hey, you know, the civil rights movement had a landmark moment. You know, you got the bill signed, the civil rights bill, and everything like that. And Dr. King's like, you know, he has hesitations, and he said that he felt that he led his people to a burning building because of America not reconciling the history of slavery. And what you're saying that right now just puts that into perspective, is that that story will never end. Like, racism is never going to go away. That's as American as apple pie. That's not going to go anyway. No matter how people twist Dr. King's words, being, you know, a colorblind society, that's just a part of this country DNA. It's never going to go away. And to understand that to that point, it's like, what do you do from now?
There you go.
What you're doing right now, I have the Kickstarter up here. I'm going to bring it up. I have it here. You see it?
Yes, sir. You know, to your point, I just want to say this last thing, because, again, you won't hear it too often because, you know, some people, you know, won't say it, and other people, you know, just have no idea of this perspective. The truth of the matter is, there's always going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason. And you know what? They got the right not to like you. You understand? Like, people have the right to be racist. You understand? Like, this is the problem in our country right now, is you got white people who were forced to act like they like black people. You know what I'm saying? On some, you know, politically correct movements and all this. They were forced to sit next to black people that they hate and can't stand, forced to smile, to act like, you know, they like black when they don't. You understand? And so when you are able to have a real open, honest conversation, the truth of the matter is, There are always going to be people that don't like you for any reason. I have a 5-year-old son, and he goes out to play at the playground or whatever. He come home and say, "Daddy, so and so don't want to play with me." I say, "Yo, son, he ain't got to play with you. He ain't got to like you. You understand? Get used to it now." And I'm so glad I have those conversations with him now. There are going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason, and they have the right not to like you. You can't make people like you. This is what we're facing now. This is the pendulum swinging right now with this boy in office right now. You know, Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, Mr. Trump. You know, he's in office because those people said, finally, somebody out here ready to stand on it and let people know we just don't like you. And it's, and that's it. And let's be proud of the fact that we don't like you. And for me, I'm good with that. I don't like you either. You understand? Like, yo, you don't like me, I don't like you. We good. But I'm not. And because of that, because I recognize that there's people out there that don't like me and have the right not to, I'm going to make sure that I build my life in such a way that people like that cannot infringe on my life or on my lifestyle. You understand? And that's what it's all about. And again, that's the reason why DIY, that attitude is so important, because you're building your lifestyle. You're buying property, because you're not going to allow, someone else to, you're not going to rent and be at the mercy of, people, making the decisions for you. You start your own business so that you don't have to be at the mercy of other people telling you when to come to work and so on and so forth, right? You build your own security system, FOI, like the Nation of Islam is a great example of this whole DIY mentality and perspective. You know what? You never hear of a community run by that's led by the Nation of Islam having problems with the police. You never hear. Same with the Amish. You never hear. When they have a problem, they handle it themselves. They ain't got to call anyone else from outside. You see? And that's ultimately, in my opinion, the goal this should be the goal for all of us. Because, anyway, done. As far as my Kickstarter here, my brother, you get me talking on that kind of stuff. I'm very passionate about this.
It's all love, man. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think it segues to your Kickstarter. Again, going back to just making it happen, not waiting or reaching out to like Disney or whoever out there when it comes to animation. You know what I'm saying? It's like you'll find a way to do it. And when it comes to Black people, we make shit happen. We turn water into wine. We do that every day.
That's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That's hip hop, right? And so to your point, and let me be clear. No, I will reach out to Disney and Netflix and all of them. Let me be clear. I reach out to all these people. But if and when they say no, it ain't going to stop me. That's DIY. I'll say it again. It's not that I don't reach out and ask for and attempt to get people to invest in, but if and when they don't, best believe, my brother, I'm prepared to go at it. If I got to do it all alone, I'm going to see it through, because I'm just built that way. So this project right here is an example of me reaching out again, you know what I'm saying, on a whole nother level. Instead of reaching out to the corporations, though, in this case, this time I'm reaching out to the general public and say, hey, listen, I'm going to wave the flag, general public. My name is Hotep. I'm an OG. I've been here. I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere. I have a long track record in history of independently producing amazing work, books, films, music, video games, all this stuff. And I have a history of doing so independently, meaning that I see things through. I have a track record. You don't have, if you're looking for a horse that you need to bet on, I'm your boy. You see, because I've done it before. I'm still doing it, and I'm not going to stop doing it. On top of that, I'm a father, so I got father energy, 2 batteries on my back that's fueling this. So if I was a beast before, I'm a monster today. You understand? And so this project here say, listen, if what I'm saying resonates with you, here's a project that I'm building, right? And I'm inviting all of you, the whole village, the community that sees it this way, to come on and be a part of this movement, be a part of what we're creating here, be a part of this team, this movement, this ecosystem that we're building, so that we can build our table even larger, right? I don't need the quantity. I'm looking for the quality. I tell people all day, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 90 pennies. Huh? Let me say that again. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 90 pennies. Do the math, right? So I'm not looking for the pennies, man. But people that rock with me, they're quarters. They're built a certain way and have a certain competency and quality that enables me to do amazing things with with a small amount of people. However, the Kickstarter is designed to help outreach to more people. So you see right now I'm at 37 backers. I want 100. I got, 35 hours left of this campaign. I got 35 hours to get 63 more people on board with this project. That's my goal, right? And again, here we go. I'm reaching out. I'm saying to you, Ishmael, and everybody else listening, I want to get 100 backers. You understand? 100 people to back this project, okay? And I hope we reach that goal. But if we do not, ain't nothing going to stop this train from moving forward. You see? And that's what I want to make sure I communicate to the people, to provide them with the confidence to say, you know what? This is what I want to back, because this brother is going to see it through. And this is not someone that's going to drop the ball. This is not someone that's going to run off with the money and just, leave us hanging. This brother has a track record, been doing it, still doing it, and ain't going to stop doing it. I'm done, my brother.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a little bit of the video that you put a part of the Kickstarter.
All right, scroll down and not this one here, because that's going to be
that one?
Yeah, go scroll down a little bit. I'll show you which one.
This one?
Yes. This is a little bit.
All right, so I'm going to play this for the people so they can see.
Ariyah was a really fun character for me to develop. Telling her story was important to me because when I first started Black Lion and Cubs, it was centered around a father and his 2 sons. And there just was a lot of male energy within my stories. So it was important for me to balance the scales in some type of way, because I was moving things towards the focus on the children, the 2 cubs. I wanted to create a girl character to offset the 2 boys. So that was the reason why I created Ariyah, and provide a vision for my female readers, a focal point for which they can see themselves.
Okay. All right. So, just talk. I know you discussed it in the short, but just talk about the impact of why you wanted to highlight Ariyah. Yeah. So, my 2 sons have a cousin named Ariyah. She comes over for Christmas every year. My boy's always excited. And as I was developing the first anime series, I draw my ideas, a lot of what I do from reality, my personal experience in life. And so just watching them play with her, as I thought about the importance of having a female character more central in the brand, I said, you know what, let me use her because it would resonate with them, and it gave me a point to draw from. The short of it is, Black Lion and Cubs has become extremely popular. Everyone, when they see the books, the books sell extremely well for me. The brand is doing very well, and my clientele isn't just men. My clientele isn't just Black people. I mean, at least 50% of my clientele is people of other races. You understand? At least 50%. No, I'll say at least 35%. Okay, there's people of other races and cultures. So my point is, I have a brand that, although was started selfishly as a father that was attempting to do something to empower his 2 children, I unknowingly created something that people of all races and genders can see value in. And as my young ladies and my female parents, or even my fathers that have daughters, have come to the table and say, do you have something for the girls? I would say, well, this project isn't for boys. It just happens to have boys in it.
but I wanted to stop having to say it that way, and I wanted to create a powerful female character that can offset the boys, someone that represents the best of what we want for our young girls. So Ariyah is very powerful. She's confident. She has a lot of attitude. She gives the boys a run for their money, just like my boy's cousin do. My niece does. So that's what I wanted, because again, the theme of the story is true power comes from within. My girls should have to be able to see that amongst themselves as well, that they don't have to be the princess looking for the prince all the time. Like, their value isn't always in the fact that they found somebody. There's value in them by themselves. They're powerful, they're intelligent, they're confident, self-assured, and equal to the boys. And that's what I wanted to represent with Ariyah, and that's what I've done. So I decided to do an anime, a short film. So to introduce her into the storyline, instead of just drawing a picture or putting it in a comic, I decided to do something with more fanfare, more something more grandiose. And that's the reason why I'm doing the Kickstarter for the anime. And by the way, the animation is like 95% done. So again, I'm not here just to raise money. Of course, I want to raise the funds to help me accomplish more, but it's more about the people. It's more about galvanizing people that say, you know what, this is important. It's important for us as Black people. It's important for our young girls. It's important for parents. It's important for other people, races and nationality, to see us as powerful people as well. And remember that those people that built the pyramids look just like me and you. You understand? Not the people of today in that space, but people that look just like me and you. And so that's the reason why this project's important. And, my hope is that, we will stop complaining about what other people are not doing and start supporting and investing in what people are actually doing and building, like this project here.
And it's phenomenal what you're doing. And my final question, I know a past guest I've had on, when it comes to the mother, and I'm going to pose this question to you because you're the first person I'm going to ask this question, because the past guest has just been mothers. What does a father intuition mean to you? Being a dad with two sons, and you're creating this amazing narrative. So what does that mean to you, father intuition?
Man, protect, provide, and guide. You know what I'm saying? The father's intuition, to me, is all about protecting, providing, and guiding. That guiding is the leadership, right? So as a father, my first intuition is to protect my children and my household, my home, my wife, my queen. My job is to protect. I'm also a provider. These strong shoulders you see here, not just to protect, but also to provide, go out there and get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put my wife out there in harm's way. You know what I'm saying? If she has to, okay, but it needs to be me first out there, because I need her, to be the direct line to our children. So protect, provide, and also guide. Make sure I have good sense, wisdom, good decision-making skills, so that they can allow me, my wife can feel confident that, when I say, we're going to do it this way, she says, you know what? You've already demonstrated the leadership skills and capacity to guide this family, and I will submit and allow that to happen.
That's dope, man. I appreciate that, man. And thank you for being, dope with that answer, because you're like the first father I asked that question about father intuition. And
Thank you.
Just to give you a heads up, I'm going to ask more dads that question, because I think that's a valid question to ask.
I'm curious what other people will say. I'm looking forward to hearing, make a compilation, what I'm saying, like how they do on YouTube, make a compilation of that, everyone that answers that question, and see what the consensus is,
Facts. I'm going to definitely take that as a consideration, because I think that's important, just to put it out there to people, just to give fathers different perspective on what that question means to them. This has been a great conversation, but I'm going to ask you one more question. I know I lied. I said that was the last question, but the next question I want to ask you, because you're in so much media in creating and writing, I posed this question to a couple of dads already, right? I'm a strong believer fatherhood is a work of art. So what does that mean to you?
The work of art, man. I mean, look, I've for the last year and a half, 2 years, have done nothing but create the art of fatherhood, like you see on my shirt right here. So that's really what it means to me. It is a work of art. It is an art, and that's what Black Lion and Cubs is demonstrating, that there's or providing is an artistic vision as to strong fatherhood, sensitive fatherhood, loving, and all the things I just mentioned before, and now having a visual representation of that in Black Lion and Cubs on in books, in cartoons, books, video games, and now, like you see behind me, in the anime cartoon form as well.
Facts, man, and I appreciate that answer, man. I hope you appreciate that question. Thank you for coming on. Definitely want to have you back on. How can people find you? How can people get in to support the Kickstarter?
So, if you're on IG or TikTok, it'll be at Black Lion and Cubs, as you see here in my tag. It'll be the link in the bio, or you can just go to the website, blacklionandcubs.com. I try to keep everything simple and consistent. Black Lion and Cubs, IG, TikTok, or blacklionandcubs.com. You can find me there. I'm easy.
Facts. And in this anti-DIA world, which again, like I said, it's become the N-word. You have a brother right now that's changing that narrative, showing the highlight about the importance of family, fatherhood, love, life, and everything in a nutshell. Brother Hotep, thank you for coming on. This has been another dope episode of the podcast. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we're out. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Stay on for 1 second. And I'm going to end.